to respond to it.
Joining me right now is House Judiciary Committee member Greg Steube, and you were at the hearing, Congressman. Good to have you on the program this morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Can you give us a sense of what the takeaway was in the room yesterday?
Well, I think it's challenging when you have these platforms where people are voicing their opinions. Obviously, I want the First Amendment protected and people being able to voice their political views. And I'll tell you, hearing from conservatives, a lot of conservatives will tell you that they feel like their conservative speech is being partitioned and violated on these type of platforms. And they'll say things, let's say, about abortion on their positions on abortion, and then it's taken off. So it's interesting to hear from those two companies as to what their policies are, but it seems like depending on what the content is, their policies are different depending on what the content is.
So is anything going to be done about it? I mean, we have seen evidence of censoring of conservative conversation. What will be done about it?
Well, you know, they keep going back to this. Well, we have this we have this policy that we go back to, but the people that are reviewing these policies seem to be very subjective as to conservatives versus liberal platforms and the things that are being placed on there. So I've got deep concerns that they're being very subjective about, because I've heard the same things that you have heard, where a lot of conservatives are being blocked from some of the things that they want to discuss.
Let me move on to Attorney General William Barr testifying before the House Appropriations Committee, commenting on the Russia investigation, specifically the allegation of FISA abuse. Watch this.
The Office of the Inspector General has a pending investigation of the FISA process in the Russian investigation, and I expect that will be complete probably in May or June, I am told. So hopefully we'll have some answers from Inspector General Horowitz on the issue of the FISA warrants. More generally, I am reviewing the conduct of the investigation and trying to get my arms around all the aspects of the counterintelligence investigation that was conducted during the summer of 2016.
So tell me about that in terms of what happens now. One thing that the AG seems to have done is put the pressure on Michael Horowitz, the IG, to come up with his findings. People are waiting to see what the IG comes up with after, of course, referring criminal charges toward at least one person, Andrew McCabe.
Well, I think it's great that we're looking at how we got to where we are. If the Mueller report says that there's absolutely no evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, then how in the world did they have probable cause to issue a FISA warrant to then spy on the Trump campaign? So I've been saying for weeks, why don't we investigate how they even got the warrant to begin with? So I'm very glad to hear from AG Barr that they're going to be looking at this. It sounds like they're already looking at this, and I'm curious to see what their investigation reveals.
Yeah, I mean, I've got right in my hand right now the Jim Baker testimony, which Doug Collins, your colleague in the House, released. And based on this Jim Baker testimony, the Lisa Page testimony, we keep hearing the same thing, that there really was no predicate to launch an investigation into the Trump campaign back in 2016, other than the dossier, which was never verified. So how do you come up with an investigation of a presidential candidate when you don't have a predicate, a reason to actually launch a federal investigation?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer, and you have to have probable cause to issue a warrant.
Right.
The FISA warrant was issued. What was that probable cause to issue that warrant, other than the Russian dossier that we all know was a campaign dossier?
Right, exactly. So in the meantime, we all know what has taken place here, and that there was no predicate for the investigation there, and yet the Democrats want the Mueller report to go wide, as if there's some smoking gun that the AG is hiding. Here's what AG Barr said about that yesterday.
I do think it's important that the public have an opportunity to learn the results of the special counsel's work. I think that from my standpoint, within a week, I will be in a position to release the report to the public, and then I will engage with the chairman of both judiciary committees about that report and about any further requests that they have.
Congressman, what about that? What's going to come out of this wider release of the Mueller report? What should we expect in terms of implications?
Yeah, and I voted to make it public, and I applaud the AG for releasing what provisions of it he can release with the law. Obviously, there's things that are going to have to be legally redacted, so we'll be able to see. But the bottom line is the Mueller team, who a lot of them were Hillary Clinton type supporters, a lot of them, all of the Mueller report found that there was no collusion. So at the end of the day, whatever evidence there may or may not be, it's very clear that there was no evidence of collusion. So I don't know what the Democrats think they're going to find in this report.
Well, is this a lot of bluster because they don't want an investigation into the origins of the Trump collusion probe?
Oh. Of course not. You haven't heard any of the Democrats talk about investigating that or investigating the things that were investigated under Hillary Clinton when the FBI and DOJ investigated her.
Yeah. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much. We'll be watching the developments. Congressman Steube joining us.